When you hear somebody say that a bike or anything actually is it can kind of do it all, it's good at everything, that's usually in not a very positive connotation. It can do it all, but it's not really great at one particular thing. This is pretty much the reputation of Honda's NC750X, and after spending a few days with it, riding it in all sorts of different conditions, highway, urban, city, lane splitting, a little bit of gravel, off-roadish as well, back roads, this is what I think of it. This is a bike that Honda tells you will take you absolutely everywhere. You could commute with it to work every single day.
This whole line of cars that you just seen now, this is really one of the reasons I think bikes are the only way to get around in town. If you live in a big city where there's lots of traffic, if you don't have to carry lots of stuff with you every day.
You could take it out in the weekend with a pillion as well to go for a fun little ride, multi-day ride if you want to. So comfort is basically the #1 thing that I'm looking for in a bike that can do it all. We can spend your whole week in its saddle. Riding position on the NC750 is very adventure-like. There is a little bit of an angle in my knee. It's not bad. The handlebars are wide enough for me to be comfortable even for prolonged periods of time, and I'm talking about sitting on it for a couple of hours without getting off. The seat is not very hard, it's not very soft, but its shape is just, it's great. It's very comfortable. I have no complaints about the seat. Overall riding position, sitting in the NC750 saddle, even for long periods of time, is actually very good. Big thumbs up. The seat height on it is a very accessible 800 millimeters, so basically anybody can ride this bike. At 1.8 meters, 5'11", I am very comfortable on it. I can easily flat-foot it in town or wherever I need to. It's a very nice place to be. Engine, it's exactly the same one. It's not exactly the same one. It is the same engine as on the X80 V750, the weird adventure scooter crossover from Honda. 270-degree crank. It is very canted if you take a look at it. With a power figure of only 58 horsepower, you would be forgiven to think this bike is a slouch. Quite the opposite, actually.
That engine, that airbox together with that exhaust, that's just lovely.
Paired together with this end can, the sound that comes out of this bike, the engine, the end can, the airbox is just, it's fun. You're not expecting that on a bike that everybody tells you is not really a lot of fun. Yes, it can do it all, but it's just, it does it boringly. No. When you pull the throttle on this, it comes alive. Only until about 5,000-6,000 RPM, but until that point, it's fun. It's great fun.
I'm not even in sport mode. Let's change modes. Press the mode button. No, not that one. Not that one, that one. And then you go to sport. Oh, you can feel that. That's better.
Riding it in town, city, urban environments, lots of traffic. The bike weighs 224 kilograms wet. It's not a light beast, but it's not a heavy beast at all. Because the seat is so narrow, you're able to flat-foot it. It's really not a chore maneuvering it in between cars or other obstacles.
It is very easy to lane split with this bike because, well, first of all, it's very flickable. It's very agile. You can change direction very quickly. But the mirrors are positioned, as we can see here, above most of the other cars' mirrors, which is exactly what you want if you're stuck in traffic. My own little lane.
With the engine being at such an angle, the center of gravity is actually pretty low on this. Pair that with the fact that the fuel tank is not over here in its usual position, it is under the seat. That makes it a lot more agile than you would expect when you just take a look at it and you've never ridden it.
That is very, very easy to flick it from one direction to another. It's a very well balanced bike. The way things should be.
This also makes it very easy to maneuver it while you're not riding it in your garage, wherever you need to move it a little bit, because all of that weight is very down. This also makes it pretty agile in town as well. Changing directions is actually a breeze. This little storage compartment over here, where you would expect the fuel tank to be, is a great addition to a bike that you could easily commute to work with every day. This could be your daily city rider, and to be able to just pack stuff in there. If you're carrying a laptop, you put it in there, go to work. When you come back home, get some shopping, put it in there. It's very spacious. Honda says you could fit a full face helmet in there. I wasn't able to fit mine, but I don't know, maybe a smaller, ones that you use to ride around the city, those would definitely fit in there. But I really like these kind of design choices on a bike that is supposed to be very utilitarian. It just makes your life a lot easier. You don't have to worry about carrying a backpack with you. Your shopping will fit in there. Personally, for me, it was great because all of the camera gear could fit in there. I don't have to think about where I was going to put it. So yeah, I love to see these little, let's call them design choices.
I've done about 80 kilometers with the bike since I've gotten it, and look at that, average consumption 4 liters per 100 kilometers. That's just, that's nice, especially in today's world.
Speaking of fuel, this is a 14.1 liter tank. If you do decide to go on longer trips in the weekend or after work or multi-day trips, fuel range on this is actually very good. This engine is honest, it's great. Honda says 3.5 liters per 100 kilometers. With my kind of testing, lots of stopping, I wasn't babying it quite a bit. I got 4 liters, which is actually very good. It's a 14.1 liter tank, which means that theoretically you should get about 400 kilometers of range from one tank, which is good.
Not bad, not bad at all. It's a bit too much dive than I would have liked, but not bad.
Brakes consist of only 320mm wavy disc on the front. There's a Nissan caliper, 2-pot caliper in there. The best way I can describe them is fine. They're just fine. They're not groundbreaking, mind-shattering, rainbow-style lemmas. They do the job. You'll get used to it. You'll get used to the braking distance of the bike. I don't like bees, I think they know that. A little bit of brake dive under heavy braking, but not really anything to, complain about. What if you want to take it on a little bit of an off-road joust? There are a few limitations here.
Just a bit of gravel, because it can, and it does it effortlessly. Suspension is soaking up all of the bumps, all of the little rocks. You can also stand up on it. It's not the most comfortable bike to stand up on because the foot pegs are they're very narrow, but I mean, it's not the worst bike I've stood up on.
Suspension 41mm. The problem with the suspension is its actual travel, 120mm or only 120mm, both on the front and on the rear. And to add to that, the ground clearance of the bike, really nothing to write home about, 145mm. I would pretty much only stick to gravel roads on this. Nothing too crazy, because you will bottom it out sooner rather than later. The wheels are both cast iron, and they are 17-inch, both on the front and the rear. So again, off-roading is, if we keep it to fire roads or gravel roads, we'll be fine.
I really like that suspension. That's a nice suspension. Just soak that bump straight up.
Electronics, rider aids, not a lot, but it's no Tenere 700 either. You get 4 different riding modes, which also means you get ride-by-wire, which is always welcome, at least in my books. You get a standard, rain, sport, and user-definable riding mode. This being a DCT version, a dual clutch transmission, basically automatic gearbox. Honda's really pushing that quite a lot. I think 90% of the test bikes they have got DCT on them, and they might be right, because those things are selling quite a lot.
The DCT gearbox this one comes with is a lot more civilized on sport mode than on the standard rain and standard modes, because it changes at higher RPM, so it doesn't vibrate as much. This gearbox doesn't have separate modes just for the gearbox. You change that with the bike's riding modes. You change the gearbox's characteristics, and sport is good, very good actually, even for small crawling, you know, riding through urban environments like this, because I find the normal modes just change too quickly, and the bike would vibrate a bit too much for my liking. See, like right now we're in second. On standard we would have been in third already.
There's also a user-definable one where you can set your engine braking, your power, and your traction control as well. Things that I really like about it. The engine surprised me. It's not supposed to be so much fun for 58 horsepower. It should be legal, but the Japanese have done some magic there, and it is powerful enough for most riders. It also sounds great, so well done on the engine. The mirrors, again, very good as well. I can see everything behind me. They are positioned higher than most other vehicles' mirrors, so riding it, lane splitting, you're not going to be hitting other people's mirrors. If we take a look at both wheels, we can see right angle valves, which is it's a lovely quality of life improvement. It's a lot easier to pump up your tires with these 90-degree valves, and I like that, appreciate it. Riding position, wonderful, proper, comfortable. This little storage compartment in front here, I love that thing. I used it a lot while I was riding it, and it's extremely useful. A lot of bikes that I test, they have not even like a little tiny cubby hole to put something in. I don't know, like your gate opener or your phone or just something, a sandwich. That helps a lot. It helps a lot in the city, and this one has a huge compartment. Exhaust note, engine noise, we've spoken about that. It's a great little package. But I think the thing that I like the most about it is that in our market here, it's only 8,650 euros, or starting from that. And that is just a great, honest price, which pretty much sums up this bike perfectly. It is a great, unassuming, honest bike. It's a lot more than what you would imagine if you just take a look at it. Design-wise, it's not bad looking, it's not good looking. I would put it in one of those categories of a bike that you can, you know, you see it on the road and then the next second you just forget about it. It doesn't wow you with absolutely anything. And value for money and what this bike can actually do for you is it's great. It's an honest little bike. I like it. I like you. All right, things I don't really like about it, and I've written these down so I don't forget them. It's got no thermometer, which is, it's weird on a motorcycle. I know I can tell if it's warm or cold outside. Your skin can tell that, but I really would love to see a thermometer there to tell me if there's any risk of ice or if it's like really hot. Just something. It doesn't cost a lot, Honda. Just put a thermometer on there, please. No heated grips option, which means that if you do ride it all year round in colder climates, it doesn't come with handguards, it doesn't come with heated grips. You're gonna have to fit some aftermarket ones on. It would have been nice to have that optional. No side stand, that is a biggie. This is a chain-driven bike. It's gonna be a real mission to clean a chain without a center stand, so you're gonna have to buy an optional one as well there, but I would have loved to see that included. The LCD looks dated. It's very correct. It's not a true color TFT, it's an old school LCD. You can read stuff off it just perfectly. Everything's arranged where it should be, but it looks old. If you put it on standard, like on sport, like I like to ride it, the moment you switch the bike off, it will revert back to standard. I don't like that, because you know, you might put it on rain because it's raining, you stop at a shop to go get something, you start the bike up on again, you're not in rain anymore. It's dangerous to me. Just whatever the rider decides they want to ride in, Honda, just leave it there for them. Weather protection at high speeds, highway speeds. This is the last one. It's obviously you're going to be riding it on highway as well. You are protected on your knees quite a lot. You're not really protected on your legs, on your feet. I felt a lot of wind resistance on both of my shoulders and a little bit on top of my helmet. So it's not the best wind protection on on any bike. It's not the worst either, but if you do ride it on the highway a lot, you're gonna have to put some aftermarket bits and bobs here. It'll help you out a lot.
These are basically highway speeds, or very close to highway speeds. There's a lot of noise in my helmet here.
That's it for today, guys. If you have any other questions, the comment section below is the right place for you. If I've missed anything that you want to ask, just put it in there. I'll read them and I'll get back to you. If you've enjoyed this video, give it a big thumbs up. It really does help a lot. If you think you've learned something new, consider subscribing to us or becoming one of our Patreons to help us make more of these shows. Cheers, and I'll see you on the next one.